I want to move over and talk a bit about the proxy war in Ukraine. It's still ongoing. There have been some new developments, but the biggest story has to be over earlier this week. General Commissioner, I don't know what his title is, the leader of China, Xi Jinping, made a stop in Moscow to meet with Vladimir Putin. So what do you think this means? Is this a signal for something bigger?
But actually, he asked for a ceasefire. Mm-hmm. And in when he said that, he was with Putin publicly. So I believe that the Putin and the Russian may be ready for that. But the problem is maybe 5 or 10 minutes after that, the US came and they said, no, we won't have a ceasefire, and they want to fight again. Yeah. And so I'm scary about the escalation of that conflict. We said that we must have a ceasefire. We said that Canada must not be part of that war. And actually, Biden is coming to Canada. I hope it would be part of the discussion, but the discussion must be on the proposal coming from China. Yeah. China is not our friend, and I understand that, but they have a proposal for peace, and we must at least, the American at least, and us saying, okay, we're going to look at it. We're going to have a look. We're going to come back. But no, they said no. So it's that conflict is very dangerous. And what we did in the beginning, when I'm saying we, the Western countries, I said that we put Putin in the Chinese arms, and economically, strategically, and also that's what is happening right now. That visit was about a ceasefire in Ukraine, but also I understand that the two presidents signed economic agreements for more cooperation. So and if you put that together with what the president of China did before that trip in Saudi Arabia, when they had also another kind of the beginning of a peace process in Middle East between Saudi Arabia and Iran. And now they will reopen their embassy in their countries. So that's beginning of something. Yeah. And you have the BRICS country together. So this world is not dominated by the US anymore, and we have a multipolar world that is coming, and it's historical. It's happening right now, but that will have a huge impact. So speaking about the war in Ukraine, also we must say that here in Canada and in Western media, they are saying the majority of countries are pro-Ukraine. That's not the reality. 80% of the globe is neutral or pro-Putin. Yeah. We in the West are the exception. Yeah. So that war, it's something that the European and us in North America, I'm saying us because we are part of that. Yeah. It's sadly we are part of that, but we must not be part of that. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, no, it's a huge concern. It's surprising to see China, who you'd think would be fully aligned with Russia, calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah,
it almost seems to me to be
so for
very
me,
political play.
Yeah, for me, that is telling me that Putin never wanted and doesn't want to invade Europe, like they were saying, you must fight for Ukraine because after that Putin will invade another Poland and other countries.
He's the next Hitler.
No, that was not based on reality, because if Putin was there when he said that, it's because he must agree with that. And if he agreed with that, what he wants, it's only Donbass and Crimea. And these two territories were under different jurisdiction the last 100 years. So
they're filled with ethnic Russians.
Yeah, and so if they have a ceasefire, Putin will keep these two territories, and that will be it.
Yeah.
So when they were telling us in the beginning of the war, yes, Putin is dangerous, Putin is a new Hitler, Putin wants to invade Europe. No, that was not. And he was clear also. He was clear in 2008, 2010, when he said, it's dangerous. You are pushing Ukraine with NATO. I don't want a NATO base at my doors, like Kennedy didn't want that. He told us that a couple of years ago. So now he's just following up with that, because now Ukraine is de facto a member of NATO.
Yeah, but also having Xi come in and kind of broker this peace deal puts China in a very favorable position internationally. Now they look like the adult in the room.
Absolutely,
right?
They are. And on that subject, they are.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but I don't like the Chinese Communist Party. But that position it's too dangerous. We can have a third world war, and and the Americans are pushing for an escalation. Of the conflict.
It feels to me like they're clinging on to their status as the global hegemon as it falls away. And we move towards this multipolar world, like you're saying. This is their last chance to keep on as the superpower, but it seems to be inevitably coming to a close.
Yeah, absolutely. It's but I hope that here in Canada, at least, more people will understand that it is not in our national security interest to be part of that war.
Yeah, and then with this pivot to this multipolar world, I think we're also going to see massive kind of changes to the global financial system.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain this transition to our viewers?
Yeah, it's happening right now because since 1971, as you know, the U.S. dollar was and is the petrodollar.
Yeah.
So that means that if you want to buy oil from other countries, usually it will be with the US dollar. But now the BRICS country, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and other countries also want to be part of the BRICS countries. They are looking for another kind of currency that will be based on a sort of gold standard that would be the competition of the US dollar, and they would be able to buy oil and gas with that currency. So actually that's why Saudi Arabia and Iran, they are big producers of oil and gas with Russia. So, and they're saying they're ready to accept another currency.
Yeah.
So that means that all these US dollars will have to go back to the US. That will create inflation over there. So that's not good for the US dollar. So now you'll have another currency that would be in competition with the US dollar. Actually, the Europeans try it with the euro. They thought that that would be the competition of the US dollar, but didn't work. It didn't have strong natural resources there.
Yeah.
So now China understands the game, and actually Saudi Arabia said that they're ready to sell their natural resources, their oil in yuan.
Yeah.
So that's new. So that's a big impact. So you have, that block over there and the US over there, and that can be an opportunity for our country because our natural resources, our oil and gas, the Europeans will need that, like they are right now, and they will in the future, and also in the US. So I believe that natural resources and maybe an important point in the discussion with Biden and Trudeau, because I believe that the American will want to have a safe country that can give them natural resources like oil and gas and other resources, because counting on China or the Middle East for that, it may be difficult in the near future. So all that is happening at the same time, and all these countries are neutral also, or with Russia in that war in Ukraine. So China is playing very well their cards actually right now. To have a bigger influence over the Middle East for sure, and Africa and other countries. And so we'll see. But the Americans with their wars, people are fed up with that in the Middle East. And now they are pushing that in Ukraine, and we are saying yes. Like I said before, Chrétien said no to the American, and that was okay. We are an independent country. I'm pretty sure that Trudeau would have been able to say that, and we keep our sovereignty, and we were able to keep for sure our good relation with the US. We don't have to be part of all these wars that the US are doing. We were not part of the Vietnam War. We were not part of the Iraq War. So why being part of that? So there's a war and there's the economic situation. And so China and the BRICS countries are doing everything to be able to compete against the West and to have their own monetary unit. And that will have a huge impact.
Yeah. So with this transformation of the financial system, are you concerned that we'll be like caught in the middle, where we're very dependent on the U.S. for trade, but we're literally between Russia and the U.S. geographically,
but geographically, yes, it won't change, and that's why I said, why doing that war in Ukraine, that proxy war, and having Russia our enemies when they're our northern neighbor. Mm-hmm. So that being said, but no, the country and our country, we will always be with the U.S. We will all, we are part of NATO, and just for be able to defend our territory, our northern territory, and just our borders to the north, we're not able to do that alone. Yeah. We'll need the US. So we are part of the Western Bloc. That's okay. But the impact that the US will have, because they're our trading partners, that will have an impact on our economy also. If the inflation is going up to the US, and it will, it's about 6% there. Here in Canada, it's about 5.2%. It may stay like that for a couple of years. That will have an impact in Canada also. But, our friends and our neighbors, the US, we are with them, and we'll stay with them. But there's a way to express our differences politely, and doing what we think is good for this country.